These are 9 Hollywood legends from cinema's golden age who underwent plastic surgery to transform their appearances, some with career-making results and others with devastating consequences. Marilyn Monroe's secretly documented procedures, Hedy Lamarr's tragic complications, and 7 other stories reveal the hidden costs of manufactured beauty in old Hollywood. The studio system spent decades cultivating an illusion of effortless, natural beauty. But behind closed doors, stars endured painful procedures with primitive techniques and dangerous materials. Marilyn Monroe's hidden medical records. The most shocking revelation only became public knowledge in 2013, more than 50 years after Marilyn Monroe's death, when medical records nobody knew existed suddenly appeared at auction. Monroe entered the world as Norma Jean Mortensen on June 1, 1926, and became 20th Century Fox's biggest star before dying on August 5, 1962. The face that defined a generation wasn't entirely natural, and the proof sat hidden in a doctor's files for half a century. 2 procedures happened in 1950 when Monroe was in her early 20s. Dr. John Pangman performed a chin augmentation using carved bovine cartilage at Dr. Gurdon's office, along with the subtle tip rhinoplasty. Synthetic silicone didn't exist until the late 1960s, which meant cartilage from cows got carved and inserted into patients' faces. A cruel comment at a party drove her to the operating table. Monroe overheard a casting director call her a chinless wonder around 1949 or 1950, and that single moment changed everything. Julian's Auctions in Beverly Hills put 6 X-rays and Dr. Gurdon's medical notes up for sale on November 9th and 10th of 2013. The records covered 1950 to 1962 and were expected to bring in $15,000 to $30,000. When the hammer came down, someone had paid $25,600 for proof that America's most famous sex symbol had modified her face. Martin Nolan, executive director of Julian's Auctions, explained what made these records so important. Nobody really thought about Marilyn Monroe having plastic surgery. It was always speculation, did she or didn't she? They thought she was such a natural beauty, they didn't want to believe. Those medical records revealed another detail. On July 14, 1958, she walked into Dr. Gurdon's office using her married name, Marilyn Miller, and complained of chin deformity. The 1950 cartilage implant had slowly begun to dissolve, leaving nothing but a small scar. Her career took off after the procedures in ways it hadn't before. A director told her afterward, "Honey, you should have cut your chin 2 years ago." And every major Monroe film came after 1950. Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, The 7-Year Itch, Some Like It Hot all featured a face that had been surgically altered. Rita Hayworth, erasing heritage one hair at a time. Rita Hayworth's transformation stands as one of the most painful stories in Hollywood history, not because of surgical complications, but because of what the studio system demanded she endure for years. Margarita Carmen Cancino was born on October 17, 1918, daughter to a Spanish dancer father and a Ziegfeld showgirl mother. Fox Studios signed her in 1935 and 1936 under the name Rita Cancino, cast her only in ethnic roles, and then dropped her contract. Columbia Pictures had Howie Cohn and her first husband, Edward Judson, decided her face was too round and she didn't have enough forehead. What they really meant was making her appear less Mediterranean, less Latin, and more American in a way that would sell tickets. 3 years of agony followed. Weekly electrolysis treatments from 1937 to 1939 raised her hairline by approximately 1 inch using thin metal probes to shock individual hair follicles. 1 hair at a time, week after week, for 3 years straight. American Magazine documented this in 1942. To lengthen her face for 3 years, she went every week to have her hairline moved back at the top and on the sides, a hair at a time by electrolysis, until nearly 1 inch more of her forehead was exposed. Natural black hair got dyed to signature auburn red, and Cancino became Hayworth. The studio manufactured a completely different person and erased her ethnic identity in the process. Hayworth spoke about her first husband years later with bitterness. "I married him for love, but he married me for an investment. The persona Columbia created haunted her forever. Every man I knew went to bed with Gilda and woke up with me. Commercially, the transformation worked. Fred Astaire partnered with her. Gilda made her a star in 1946. 5 Life magazine covers featured her face, and by 1947, her salary hit $250,000 plus 50% of film profits. Columbia literally reshaped her ethnic identity one electrolysis session at a time. And the woman who emerged spent the rest of her life knowing the world loved someone who didn't really exist.
Phyllis Diller, the ambassador who brought surgery out of the closet. Phyllis Diller took the opposite approach, and that complete transparency changed how America talked about plastic surgery. Born July 17, 1917, Diller became one of the first female stand-up comedians to achieve household name status by making people laugh at everything the other stars tried to hide. 15 or more procedures with nearly 10 different plastic surgeons happened between 1970 and 1989, and Diller spent $50,000 according to what she told the Chicago Tribune in March 1989. She kept a running tally and shared it with reporters. The list reads like a textbook. Teeth straightening in 1970, a complete facelift in 1971 at age 55, then teeth bonded twice, breast reduction, tummy tuck, brow lift, rhinoplasty, under eye lift, cheek implants, permanent eyeliner tattoos, and a chemical peel by 1989. Dr. Franklin Ashley handled most of her procedures until his death in 1985. The New York Times called him one of the top 5 plastic surgeons in the world in 1980. What makes Diller remarkable is how she talked about it without shame. NPR's Fresh Air heard her describe it this way: "I was ugly and beginning to look old and wrinkled and hangy. We're talking droop city." She told Bob Hope in 1971, "I got sick and tired of having the dog drag me out to the yard and bury me." Her most famous line, "I've been done over so many times that no 2 parts of my body are the same age." The Chicago Tribune asked if she regretted any of it in 1989, and Diller answered, "Every cent was well spent. I have never been so happy." The American Academy of Cosmetic Surgery gave her the Franklin B. Ashley Award in 1986, citing her as the first person to have the courage to proclaim her surgery and show her results publicly. ABC's 2020 devoted a segment to her procedures on February 12, 1993. Diller died on August 20, 2012, at age 95, having influenced Joan Rivers, Roseanne Barr, and Ellen DeGeneres while helping bring plastic surgery into honest conversation. Carol Burnett's chin and the phone call from Marlon Brando. Carol Burnett was born on April 26, 1933, hosted The Carol Burnett Show on CBS from 1967 to 1978, where it won 25 Emmy Awards, and at 91, she's still acting. A story about her chin perfectly captures how celebrities quietly helped each other navigate these decisions. Chin advancement surgery happened in the early 1980s after she finished filming Annie. A weak chin had bothered her all her life, and when she accompanied her daughter to an oral surgeon for bite correction, the surgeon noticed and offered to help. 3 millimeters made all the difference. The surgeon pulled her chin out about 3 millimeters, transforming her profile. CNN's Piers Morgan Live heard her explain it in April 2011 with typical humor. "I'd always wanted a chin. I had a weak chin, so he said, I can pull your chin out about 3 millimeters. So I said, I've always wanted to, so that if it rains, I could feel it on my chin without having to look up." Annie wrapped in 1982, she got the surgery, and then the studio called her back for reshoots of the Easy Street number. Her visible facial change required creative staging solutions. Then Marlon Brando called her hotel about a year later. The message said, "Marlon Brando would like you to call him." When she returned the call, Brando asked, "So, where'd you get your chin?" His wife's sister had a similar concern, and they talked for 50 minutes about surgeons and procedures, 2 major stars comparing notes on facial modification like people discussing recipes. People magazine ran before and after profile photos in 1983 when Burnett discussed her surgery openly. Just honest conversation about a choice she made for herself.
Joan Crawford's dental disaster created her signature mouth. Joan Crawford was born Lucille Fay Lesueur, though sources can't agree on the year. 55 years of work followed, from silent films to 1970s television, a Best Actress win for Mildred Pierce in 1945, and death on May 10, 1977. What happened to her mouth stands out because it began as dental work and ended with permanent disfigurement that she incorporated into her iconic look. Sean Considine's book Betty and Joan, The Divine Feud, describes how Crawford had back teeth removed to give her cheekbones. Her front teeth got filed down to allow temporary caps to fit over them. The painful procedure infected her gums, which stretched her mouth. When the swelling subsided, it left her with a larger upper lip, and Crawford decided she was pleased. She painted in her lower lip to match and gave the world the Crawford mouth. Dr. Timothy Gogan confirmed Crawford suffered from decay between her front teeth and around the root areas. Between 1928 and 1930, tooth-colored fillings didn't exist, which meant the only solution was porcelain caps or crowns. Crawford's philosophy drove everything. "I have always known what I wanted, and that was beauty in every form." 25 splashes of ice-cold water hit her face with every wash, and she rinsed her eyes in boric acid solution twice daily. Unflattering photographs appeared in 1974, and Crawford made a decision: if that's how I look, they won't see me again. Public appearances stopped completely for her final 3 years. Hedy Lamarr, when beauty became an obsession. This story ends in genuine tragedy. Hedwig Eva Maria Kiesler was born on November 9, 1914 in Vienna, and Hollywood dubbed her the most beautiful woman in the world. She also co-invented frequency hopping spread spectrum technology that became the basis for Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and GPS. Death came on January 19, 2000, and by then she'd spent her final decades as a recluse. Lamarr was reportedly the first Hollywood actress to publicly admit to having plastic surgery. Throughout the 1950s, 1960s, and beyond, she underwent multiple facelifts, lip enhancement, rhinoplasty, cheek augmentation, breast enlargement, and later Botox injections. Industrial materials available for fillers were wax and unstable industrial silicone, and these substances caused disfiguring results that couldn't be reversed. Her son Anthony Loder provided a devastating statement. She had her breast enlarged, her cheeks raised, her lips made bigger, and much, much more. She had plastic surgery thinking it could revive her looks and her career, but it backfired and distorted her beauty. He described the result as looking like a Frankenstein. Alexandra Dean directed the 2017 documentary Bombshell, the Hedy Lamarr story, and said, "Before she even did the plastic surgery, she was considered horrendous and disfigured. It is so shocking and made me think, goodness, what do we do to women in this culture as they age?" A telephone became Lamarr's only connection to the outside world. 6 to 7 hours daily she spent talking on the phone, but she refused to see people in person, including her own children. Florida became her home in 1987, and she remained isolated until 2000. She wouldn't attend the 1997 ceremony where the Electronic Frontier Foundation gave her their Pioneer Award for her invention. Andrea Winkelbauer, curator at the Jewish Museum of Vienna, explained, "Since she built her career and her life relying on her beauty, as she did not have much other choice, during her final years she became obsessed with it." Dean Martin, the nose job that made the king of cool. Dino Paul Crosetti was born on June 7, 1917 in Steubenville, Ohio, became a member of the Rat Pack, and hosted The Dean Martin Show from 1965 to 1974. He died December 25, 1995. Rhinoplasty happened around 1944 when Martin was 27. His original nose was oversized and bulbous from years as an amateur boxer fighting under the name Kid Crochet. The surgery narrowed the bridge, reduced the size, and created a subtle refinement that looked completely natural. Lou Costello of Abbott and Costello fame actually paid for the rhinoplasty, according to Nick Tosh's 1992 biography. Costello had signed Martin to a personal services contract around 1944 that gave Costello 25% of Martin's earnings. One account claims Martin stiffed Costello on the payback and avoided him for years afterward. Results were remarkable in how undetectable they appeared. Many people assumed aging made Dean more handsome, rather than recognizing surgical changes. An exclusive MCA contract for his own radio program came after the surgery. 67 film and TV productions followed, along with the King of Cool persona. Martin mostly avoided public discussion of his surgery. Jerry Lewis reportedly liked to joke about Martin's old nose, but Martin himself stayed quiet. No complications, no regrets, just a successful procedure that opened doors. Gary Cooper's unsuccessful facelift. Frank James Cooper was born on May 7, 1901 in Helena, Montana, won 2 Academy Awards for Best Actor, and the American Film Institute ranked him number 11 on their list of greatest screen legends. He died from prostate cancer on May 13, 1961. April 16, 1958 is when Cooper underwent a full facelift at Manhattan Eye, Ear, and Throat Hospital in New York City. Dr. John Converse, one of the leading plastic surgeons in America, performed the procedure. Cooper was 57. Official listings called it reconstructive surgery to correct internal injuries from a broken nose, removal of a facial scar, and a cyst. That cover story didn't hide what really happened. Newspaper articles said his face now looked quite different and the procedure had not been successful. Different in a negative way. Maria Cooper Janis explained the fantasy Hollywood sold in a 2001 Daily Mail interview. The fantasy of Hollywood was that these are perfect, beautiful people who are perfect and beautiful always, and perfect people don't go and have plastic surgery because they're perfect already. Cooper made no comment when asked about results. The Hanging Tree got completed in 1959 despite the unsuccessful surgery, and critics now consider it one of his best performances. Mary Pickford's facelifts left her unable to smile. Glass Marie Smith was born on April 8, 1912 in Toronto, and Hollywood knew her as Mary Pickford, America's sweetheart. She co-founded United Artists with Charlie Chaplin, D.W. Griffith, and Douglas Fairbanks. She died May 29, 1979. Multiple facelifts happened during the 1930s, but these surgeries only moved and stretched skin without addressing underlying muscle structure. The wind tunnel look was what people called the results. Those surgeries left Pickford unable to smile or make facial expressions. Sources describe her as looking mummified from the unnatural tightness. Her on-screen career ended because of what the surgeries did. Pickford, her estate, became her prison as she grew increasingly reclusive. A cautionary tale about early plastic surgery emerged from Pickford's experience, but the lesson came too late to save the woman who helped build the industry.
What these stories tell us. Patterns emerge from these 9 stories that reveal truths about Hollywood's golden age. Secrecy was imperative. Monroe, Hayworth, Dean Martin, and Gary Cooper kept procedures hidden while studio publicity machines cultivated myths of natural beauty. Primitive technology exacted a terrible price. Pickford and Lamarr suffered severe complications from procedures performed before modern techniques developed. Wax and industrial silicone were the available fillers, cartilage implants dissolved, and facelifts created mummified expressions. Studio control over bodies was absolute. Hayworth's 3-year electrolysis ordeal shows how studios reshaped performers through painful processes designed to erase ethnic features entirely. Transparency pioneers changed everything. Diller and Burnett broke barriers by openly discussing their procedures, destigmatizing cosmetic surgery, because these women had the courage to tell the truth. Gendered expectations created stark differences. Martin and Cooper maintained near-total silence, while women faced constant scrutiny, reflecting expectations that male vanity should never be acknowledged. Real people made difficult choices under intense pressure behind Hollywood's golden facade. Some emerged triumphant, others carried scars that never healed, and some were destroyed by the very beauty standards they helped create. 9 stars modified their faces in pursuit of Hollywood dreams, and examining what happened reveals uncomfortable truths about an industry built on impossible standards.